Hi, everyone. Today, I just kind of want to talk about um, some of the trading I see happening in the game. I also wanted to talk about LOD and just life. So, I've been back on D2R now for months, several months, trading fairly regularly and things like that. And I think the basic currencies like 32020s and 25 charms and jaw runes and things like that have been holding their value fairly steadily, maybe with some fluctuations up and down. But other than that, it's been pretty steady. When that 22 Nights of Terror event went on, I noticed it was a little bit harder to get your hands on jaw runes at certain points in times because I think everybody rejoined the game and was trying to gear up characters. So it was a little tricky to get your hand on jaw runes, but that's leveled out a little bit now. So I've also noticed it's not as when that event was great. It made playing the game fun. All kinds of people were on and things like that. But what I'm seeing otherwise is unless you have perfect gear, 100% perfect, or very close to it. I'm talking about gear that's 99% perfect. It's really not selling. And I feel bad for, and I give a lot of credit to these sellers who are just holding on out there and they're just bumping their threads for multiple days at a time, just waiting for something to sell. They're really patient and whatever. And what I'm also seeing on other trading websites is that, or just other trading in general, is that um yeah, there's people holding on to items that aren't that great and they're not even willing to negotiate the prices. I could see some items that are just very obscure and really not worth much unless you're looking for something very specific or particular, and people would rather just watch their items burn than sell them for a bargain. And I think that brings me to my next point is I think there's people who are more in the category of like collecting and flipping that play this game. The more I play it, I don't know if they do it out of hobby or what, but if I'm gearing up a character, I'm impatient enough or I value my time enough to say, hey, I'd rather just spend a little extra form gold or a couple extra jaw runes just to get my hunt over with, even though I know the other person's probably profiting off of me. So they're taking a very incremental profit. So I don't know if that has value to them. I don't know if they live in another country where the economy's so rough that that they're actually gaining much from that. Maybe over time it adds up, but to me, sometimes if you see something that you want and it's not that easy to come across, and you don't want to wait another few days to find another one, you're better off just buying it and forgetting about it instead of, waiting to save another gyro or two. So I'm definitely not in the category of flipping. That doesn't appeal to me. Um, I've definitely as much as I can at a reasonable, non insane value. I've maxed out my PvP character. I don't do casters or anything. I just do straight up Barb versus Barb. If you think you have a good Whirlwind Barb, let me know in the comments. We'll meet up and do a duel. I'm pretty good. There's a handful of guys out there that can go back and forth with me, but overall, definitely in the bunch of the best. And I even talked to a guy who I know collects and flips today, and he showed me an insane helmet. He had +2 barb Vizzo with +3 BO, 2 open sockets. I think I had a perfect life roll on it of 60 life. It was a fairly good defense, and he told me he wouldn't let that go for he would not sell that for even hundreds of thousands of forum gold. So quite expensive. I think that kind of brings me to my next point is you want to get your character geared up to be efficient in this game. You don't necessarily want to gear up 100% perfect because if you get your character geared up to a point where like you're satisfied and it's good enough and you're like on the grief, maybe you don't have the perfect life after kill, but if you're dueling somebody, that's not going to matter. If you wait about 3 years or a couple years from now, there should technically be an increase of items, and hopefully you can re-gear your character or upgrade your character for a lot better value. And you can still get good enough items now to, play the game at the level you want. Um, and that's what I noticed. I think a big portion of this game that's fun is actually building your character. Once you level up your character and you pretty much get the items you're going to stay with, whether you're doing a PvP character or, some type of PVM character, once you're geared up, really, there's really no point of playing. Um, so that's why I like my PvP character is good. I like to go in and do a few rounds if I could find somebody that's at my level. And then I had enough. Um, yeah, and my last point, I should have a video coming out soon. I'm making a magic find worker barbarian. Lots of people tell me it's not worth it. You can just make a Nova Sork and like clear as much as fast, clear areas way faster. But I really like to get to unique monsters really fast and just hork them. Places I like to do is kind of like cow runs, hork the Cow King really fast, Trav, and Fire Eye, couple spots in Act 5. I don't get any enjoyment out of using a Nova Source, so I think horking's fun. So I'm gonna post a video of my build. Um, yeah, I'm definitely gonna need to upgrade some of the gear on him. You guys will see. But I think I have a pretty cool build that you don't see around a lot. I just wanted to mention LOD. LOD is just about dead. There's a handful of guys out there, you know, trading, and for whatever reason, they don't want to come to D2R. They don't want to restart. Whatever makes them happy. I really think Blizzard should start looking at transferring those accounts over into D2R. Some people might like that thought. Some people may not. But if they ever do allow that, it's going to really open the door to a lot of like very special items that people had their hands on in D2 LOD, and bringing those into D2R would make them priceless. That would be pretty insane. And just I've gotten hardly any views on my videos. During the 22 night event, I got quite a lot of action on my channel, and now it's pretty much dying out. I'm gonna keep trying. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. It's helping me out. It's helping me feel like people are watching the channel and that this is worth it. And yeah, I just want to leave off on talking about life. Don't forget, I'm going for a run now. Got to drink my pre workout. Don't forget to do your cardio. Don't forget to lift your weights. Um, I've been focusing heavily on the weights the past few weeks because I was doing so much cardio. I definitely felt depleted in the gym. I was still strong, but my lifts were definitely burning out because, I was doing like 13-mile runs, 10-mile runs, several times a week. And when you're running at that level and that kind of distance, it's kind of challenging to maintain strength at the same time. So now I'm shooting for maybe two long runs a week, anywhere from like 5 to 10 miles, depending how I feel. I also do a lot of my runs in barefoot shoes. If you don't know what that is, I suggest you look into it. It's a shoe that really emphasizes your natural foot shape and like building strength in your foot. A lot of these running shoes out there, they're really just designed to make you dependent on shoes and or orthodontic or orthopedic, whatever type shoes as you get older because they cripple your feet and bend your toes and all this stuff. So yeah, just look into that if you're into any type of like outdoor sports and things like that. And we'll leave it at that. Don't forget again to like, subscribe, leave some comments, leave some thoughts down below. All right, thanks. Bye.